Max Payne 3 released 12 years ago and is still one of Rockstar's most underrated gems. Rockstar often doesn't acknowledge this game, it depends on the occasion, but this is a game that deserves more love, and I recently got the chance to play it for the first time and I had a blast with this game. It was an experience that I hadn't had with a game in a while. I was familiar with the Max Payne franchise. I've played Max Payne 1 and 2 on an emulator on my computer, and I always knew how good Max Payne 3 was, but sadly as a PlayStation user, this game was not accessible. So all I could do was watch gameplays, reviews, videos, but I finally got the chance to buy a PlayStation 3 and I decided to give Max Payne 3 a try, and it was a great experience. The game was developed by Rockstar instead of Remedy, and the game was written by Dan Houser instead of Sam Lake. So if you have played the previous two Max Payne games, you know how different the third one is in comparison to the other ones. And it's not only because of the studio behind it, but also of how next gen the game feels, even though it was released years ago. The game starts with a cinematic that shows Max Payne in a new environment we haven't seen before, and with a new face model, this one based on the late James McCaffrey. This is the third time Max Payne changes face model. In the first game, it was Sam Lake due to budget reasons. In the second one, it was Timothy Gibbs. And in the third one, it was James McCaffrey. This transitions to the title screen and the game starts. As soon as you load the game up, you start the first mission. Max is now in Brazil, in the city of Sao Paulo. We are used to playing in the grimy, dark New York environment, in those dark, snowy streets and in those ugly, broken apartments or subway stations. But now in a more colorful environment and different stages, we here have bars, nightclubs, football stadiums, favelas, and construction sites, and finally an airport. Because now Max is in Brazil, there is also the language barrier. That is something that Rockstar really nailed, and is that we don't get a translation for what people around us are saying.
Que merda tá acontecendo aqui? Haven't you figured out I don't speak your fucking language? Seu gringo de merda, cala a boca, seu gringo! That's right.
Unless you know Portuguese, you will have no clue of what the people around you are saying. This makes you feel more connected with Max because he doesn't know the language, he doesn't know what is being said, and this captures the feeling of Max being out of place in the whole experience. The gameplay in this game is impeccable, and if you have played the previous Max Payne games, you know how great the gunplay is, and the fact that in this game is even perfected shows how much work he was put into this. In this game, everything feels smooth, from making a jump from one place to another, from activating bullets, choosing your targets and shooting them. Is really satisfying, and this is thanks of how good bullet time is and how fun it is. But the gameplay is not only the good thing about this game. The story in this Max Payne is very underrated and many people didn't like it. But I'm not going to go into spoiler territory because if you haven't played this game, you deserve to play without knowing any spoilers and to find every twist and turn. The development that Max goes through in this game is great, and it shows an evolution of the character we have seen before. Since the first two games, we see a change in the character. This combined with the game gameplay creates a great gaming experience that you need to try. And if you have played this game before, you know how good and great this game is. But not games are perfect. This game also has some bad things and some flaws in this game. The main ones that I could find when playing this game is that the game runs a little bit long. The story could have been summarized in shorter chapters, and even though the game is not long and is very fun to play with, sometimes you feel that the story is dragging a little bit and you're not getting into the point, so you're going mission to mission, but the story is not being developed or going somewhere. So even though the story is great and it's really fun, there are some points where you're like, okay, this is dragging a little bit. And because it cuts into many flashbacks, some of them are kinda unnecessary. But if you take those aspects out, the story still is great and still managed to pull you in and entertain you for a while. Sadly, this game is part of the 7th generation of consoles, so if you're planning on buying this game, there are multiple factors you need to consider. If you're an Xbox user, you are very lucky because you can play this game no matter the console you can play it. You can play it from a 360 to a Series X, thanks to the backwards compatibility. With PC, it's only playable on Windows via Steam, but if you have a Mac, it's unplayable. Steam doesn't let you download the game. And last but not least, if you are a PlayStation user, you cannot play this game unless you own a PlayStation 3. This game has not been ported to a PS4 or PS5, so it's not that easy to access if you are on a PlayStation console. And this game is not part of any PlayStation Plus streaming catalog or classic catalog, so sadly, if you are a PlayStation user like myself, the only way to play this game is by buying a PlayStation 3. Max Payne 3 is an underrated masterpiece, and this game truly doesn't get the love that it needs. And yes, it's not a perfect game, as I said before, but it has more pros and cons that it has. From the great story that sometimes, yeah, it drags on, but it's still a great experience. The gameplay is awesome, and the late James McCaffrey performance in this game is flawless. The way he delivers Max's jokes and punchlines and monologues is what makes you like Max as a protagonist.
Like so many times before, I'd found myself alone, locked on a course of destruction. It was at my worst when I was at my best. I know what my problem is? You're turning humans into glue! That's what my fucking problem is! There's two types of people. Those who spend their lives trying to build a future, and those who spend their lives trying to rebuild the past. For too long, I've been stuck in between, hidden in the dark. What was I really doing walking in there with my bad haircut and ridiculous shirt?
As I said before, I've played Max Payne 1, 2, and 3, and this one has been my favorite performance of James McCaffrey in the role of Max Payne. Overall, this is a great gaming experience that you need to play it. If you haven't played Max Payne 3 and you have the chance to do it, do it. It's a game that has a bunch of replayability factors because you have an arcade mode, you have the story mode, and if you have the chance to do it, buy this game. You won't regret it. And Max Payne in 2024 is still a great and underrated game. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know down below in the comments, have you given Max Payne 3 a try before, or have you never played this game before? Let me know down below in the comments what you think about the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe for more video game content, and I'll see you in the next video.